Most new landlords often make these 10 costly mistakes, and it often derail them from achieving their real estate goal. And the funniest part is that they don't even realize it until it is too late. You see, new landlords often faced with several nightmares, dealing with nightmare tenants, dealing with maintenance issue, all because they did not know what they were getting into at the beginning of their real estate investment journey. In this video, I walk you through 10 most common mistakes I have seen new landlords make over and over again, and I want to help you achieve that by giving you the actionable tips, what you should do, and hopefully that will help you to become a better landlord. Let's dive into it. Hi guys, if you meet me for the first time, my name is Wale Lawal. I was a chemical engineer, oil and gas engineer turned real estate investor, a rental property landlord, and also a real estate broker. I have worked with over 400 landlords just like you. I help them to start and scale their rental properties, and also I do have 7-figure rental properties, so I am talking from experience. So if you find value here, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with anybody you think will benefit from this, because you're going to be helping them become a better landlord. So mistake number one is that I often see new landlord buying the cheapest property, or buying the wrong deal, or buying in the wrong location. Something is just not right with the property. It's common for new landlord to want to save money, want to buy the cheapest property, because they often believe that if they are buying the cheapest property, they can, maximize their return on their investment. In my experience, this is far from the truth. As a matter of fact, the cheaper your property, the more expensive it becomes on the long run. The quality of your property determines the quality of your tenant. If you have a crappy property, I can guarantee you that you will be getting and be attracting a crappy tenant. So to avoid this, you want to buy something that is relatively new. That is, if you don't have a construction experience, buy something relatively new in a decent location at the medium price point, not the cheapest one and not the most expensive one. Let's say the medium price in your market is around $300,000, then you really want to be between $275,000 to $325,000. So that way you'll be fine and you'll be able to find a quality tenant within 30 days. The number two mistake they typically make is not properly screening tenants. This is one of the most important things and most important skills you can learn or have. You see, if you pick the wrong tenant, everything is a domino effect. Everything else after that is going to be wrong, because no matter how beautiful your property is, picking the wrong tenant is going to trash it. No matter how good of a person as a landlord you are, the wrong tenant will make you look bad. No matter how your team are good at managing property, the wrong tenant will make them look as if they don't know what they're doing. So it's really extremely important for you to pick the right tenant and properly screen them. I typically use TransUnion Smart Move to screen tenants, and I recommend you sign up with them. It's also free, because the tenant that is applying for the property are the one that will be paying for this TransUnion Smart Move. He run their background check, he check their income, he check if they have any past eviction, he check if they have been arrested before. All these kind of things that you want to avoid in a tenant, they typically tell you, and he will give you a PDF report, and you can reread it and make your decision from there. Even make your life easier. He actually recommend for you. He will tell you accept or approve with condition or decline. He tell you all these things. So if you don't even know what to do, just by seeing the report, you can be at least be rest assured that you are making a smart decision simply by using TransUnion Smart Move. I do not have any affiliation with them, but it's something I've used. It's a system I've used multiple times for the last 4-5 years, and I have not seen any issue with it so far. The number three mistake I see landlord making is that they do not work with an investor agent. You see, when you are buying a rental property, you cannot work with a regular agent. Not every agent understands investment. So you really want to hire a rockstar investor agent. Preferably they own property in the market you are looking to invest as well. Let's say you're looking to invest in Houston, Texas, or Dallas, Texas. You want to make sure that that real estate agent, that real estate broker you're about to hire also own rental property in that market, so that way they can have the local knowledge to advise you as their client and give you the best investment advice, so you can avoid any possible mistakes that you are not aware of. So what you look for is actually you want to hire an on-fire agent, ONFIRE. Pretty much it means that they are organized, they are well networked, they are focus on you and investment friendly. I means they are investor themselves. R means they are responsive, and E means they are what? They are very experienced. So if you hire an invest on fire agent, it will automatically check all those things you're looking for in an agent for you, and you'll be rest assured to benefit from their wealth of knowledge and wealth of experience owning rental property themselves and helping multiple other people to acquire rental properties. The number 4 mistake I see new landlord always make is that they always skip the annual home inspection or the move out inspection. When a tenant is moving into your property, it is highly recommended that you do a move-in inspection with that tenant and also take pictures of the condition of the property when they are moving in. As a matter of fact, we do have a form in Texas. We call it moving inventory form that has a lot of boxes tenant has to check as regarding the condition of the property when they are moving in. And when they're moving out, you can compare when they are moving in to when they are moving out and see, hey, what has changed, what went wrong, and be able to charge them for any damage that they have caused to your property because you have evidence. But if you didn't do this in the first place, there is nothing to really owe them for. So I do recommend you do your move out inspection. And even when a tenant is paying your rent, it does not mean that you should still not be visiting your property at least once in a year. Now, if you cannot visit there, you can always have your property manager to visit there. If you have a property manager, if you don't have a property manager, maybe you are out of state landlord, you can always get the help of your real estate agent to help you go check on the property just by driving by, or maybe even talk to the tenant, something like that. You'll be on the safe side because the tenant is paying your rent does not mean there is no problem. So don't wait until problem happen before you visit your property. The number 5 mistake I see investors make is that they are very unreasonable with their pricing of their property. That is, they overprice their rental property. So let's say the market comparable analysis, which you can get from your realtor, by the way, shows that your property should be renting for $2,000. Now you are listing your property on Zillow. Either you're doing it by yourself or you are renting it through your agent, but you told them they should list it for $2,200, even when your agent already advised you to list it for $2,000. But because you want to get that $200, you want to get extra $200, now your property is sitting so long on the market. So please avoid that mistake. If your agent already advised you that, hey, this is what is going to rent for, please, you have to trust them. That's why you should not even work or hire any real estate agent if you're not comfortable with them in the first place, because this is a long-term relationship. That agent will have direct impact or indirectly impact your success as you continue to invest in that market. So it's extremely important you pick the right agent. And if you want to pick the right agent, comment the word agent and I'll connect you with agents all over the country and they will be able to help you. So once that agent recommend the price for you, please stick with it because they know what they're doing. And again, they're also a rental property landlord like you, and they actually want you to rent it for the highest amount possible. So if they're advising you, and you also double check with Zillow, with other things, maybe you trust your agent, but you still have to verify, which I always say, trust them, but still verify. And it's still showing you that, hey, I should be around $2,000, but you are setting it for $2,200. This will cost you a lot of vacancy because your property will stay so long on the market. Number 2, if you eventually get a tenant at that higher price, they will most likely be unqualified tenants. You probably will have to evict them at some point because they will realize that they are paying for more than what they are supposed to pay, and overall they will not stay longer on in your property. So if you want to avoid this, please price your property at a competitive price, follow your realtor advice, and this will allow you to reduce vacancy, to reduce turnover, to keep a tenant that will be happy in your property for as long as possible. And overall, this will actually make you to be a happy landlord, that you will be able to realize your goal of actually buying that rental property in the first place. The number 6 mistake is that landlord fail to maintain their property, they typically don't have any money aside for maintenance, and they always be in a reactive mode. They don't deal with issue until it got really become an emergency. Now, you don't want to be that kind of landlord. As we all know, it is cheaper to fix problem when they are very small compared to when they are big. Emergency will cost you more money, but a routine maintenance will actually save you money on the long run, which will also help you keep that tenant happy and keep that tenant in your property for as long as possible. Because like you already know, anytime a vacancy happens, that is, a tenant is leaving, you have to go back there and clean that property, maybe paint it, do a lot of things. We call it rent ready. You put it in a position to become a rent ready again, or tenant ready kind of condition, so that way the tenant can start coming to see it. You also spend money on advertising, leasing fee, all those fees that you have to pay again. So it's in your best interest to maintain your property so you can keep your tenants happy and keep them in your property for as long as possible. Again, for as long as possible. This is very important, because once they start leaving your property, you're going to start losing money. And in my experience, you're going to lose between 1 to 3 months worth of rent. If you're renting for $2,000, for example, now if you lose 3 months of rent, now you've lost $6,000 to vacancy. I can guarantee you that is your cash flow for the next 2 years that you just lost. So it is, again, in your best interest to keep a tenant in your property for as long as possible, because this will really save you money, make you a profitable landlord, and eventually you'll be happy being a rental property landlord. Number 7 on my list is that landlord typically underestimates the cost of maintenance. You see, when you're buying property, especially if it's a holder property, you need to be setting aside at least 5% of your monthly rent. Set it aside for maintenance, for the rainy day, for the reserve, we call it. So if you don't do this, most landlords don't do this actually, because when something breaks, they either don't have that money, or they are waiting for somebody to pay their rent before they can fix it. And while they are waiting, the issue become bigger. Imagine there's a leak on the property and you don't have money to fix the leak. And as water continue to penetrate into that particular spot, so the problem begin to expand. So you want to set aside between 3 to 6 months worth of rent. Let's say your rent again is $2,000, and you can set aside 3 months, which is going to be $6,000. If you can do 6 months, which will be $12,000, or anything between 3 to 6 months. You will be in a good position. So should anything happen, you will easily be able to tackle the problem, fix it before they become bigger. Now, I will give you a quick secret here. If you want to avoid constant maintenance, I recommend you buy new construction. Buy property that is built between year 2015 to 2025, as the case may be. That way you have a smooth experience. You don't have to worry about maintenance for at least the first 5 years. You don't have to worry about capex, capital expenditure, for the at least 10 years. You're going to also have a happy tenant living in your property, because they are the first person or second person or third person, as the case may be, to live in your property. And most importantly, tenants stay longer on a new construction than a holder property. So please do not ignore maintenance costs. They can be very costly, and they can cost you a lot of pain if it's not properly dealt with. The number 8 on my list is that new landlords typically don't understand their rights and the tenant's rights. You see, as a landlord, you are now a business owner. You need to understand that you have your right as a landlord, and so does the tenant as well have their rights. This is why your lease agreement will spell out the rights, and the tenant's right and your right. So in addition to that, you might also want to have rules and regulations, which you can quickly put together or download some of them online, and you can easily attach it to the main lease agreement, so that way you know you're right. Also, you want to understand the local laws surrounding renting properties to landlord, so that way you don't step on the tenant's right and tenant doesn't step on your right. And when they step on your right, you can easily call it out like, no, that's not correct, you shouldn't be doing that. And also, if you're about to step on a tenant's right, you know that, hey, I shouldn't be doing that. So you kind of keep both parties on the checks and balance. Now, I do have to remind you that real estate landlording is a business and you should run it as a business. You need to have your rules and regulation, and you must enforce those rules, because if you don't enforce it, you are going to start becoming a sloppy landlord or slumlord, and you don't want to be that, because once you get to that point, tenant will start taking advantage of you. They will start, getting late in their payment. Eventually, you have to evict them. So please have your rules in place and make sure you enforce them. Now, there could be some situation where you have to really understand with the tenants. Maybe they've been paying their rent for the last 2 years without any issue. So if there's one time late payments, I don't want you to make fuss about that, because they are human beings. Things do happen. Understand with them and move on. Let them catch up with their rent and move on. But make sure that you still charge them the late fee, because if you don't charge the late fee, they're going to be late the following month and the following month, and before you know it, they will stop paying their rent. The number 9, which is what I've seen a lot, is that most landlords don't even have a lease agreement. You see, the lease agreement is like a contract between you and the tenant. So if there's no lease agreement in the first place, that tenant is pretty much can hold you, can stay in your property forever. So as little as 2 or 3 pages, you must have a lease agreement in place. Now, if you don't have one, you can easily talk to your investor agent again. If they are investing in that market, I'm sure they will have a lease template they can easily send to you, or even help you draft the lease agreement, pay them a small fee, they can do that for you. Or if you have a property manager, this is a primary responsibility of your property manager. They're going to ensure that you have a detailed lease agreement that protects you as a landlord, that also did not infringe on the tenant's rights. So that way, again, both parties are doing their part, and there shouldn't be any problem. Now, lease agreement can easily be from 1 year to 2 years to 3 years, but I typically will not recommend anything more than 2 years. Now, if there's a problem, both parties will go back to the lease agreement, because it's a contract, right? And see, hey, no, my rent is not this, it's this. No, I should not move out until this date. This is what the date we have on the contract, because you both sign it. It become a contract, it become an agreement, and it's really, really enforceable. Also, if there is an eviction, you can easily use the lease as an evidence, in the eviction court, to say, hey, this is the lease agreement. This tenant did not abide by the lease agreement. This is why I'm evicting them. Either they didn't pay their rent, or either they violate your pet agreement, or either they didn't keep the property clean, among other reasons why you might have to evict a tenant. Again, the lease agreement is the most important document you should keep, or you should have as a rental property investor. The number 10, which I also see a lot, is that most new landlords don't have a proper record of their property, or they don't even have one at all, or they don't have an emergency fund. So don't let that be you. It is really important for you to maximize the tax advantage of real estate investing, and there is no way you can do this if you don't keep a proper record, because your proper record is what will help you when it becomes when it's the tax season. You have to, even if it's just a simple Excel spreadsheet or something on your phone, which I don't recommend that. I recommend you have an Excel spreadsheet, or most of these property management software, they do have a way to help you store your record. You can get one as little as $10 per month, and that saves you a lot of money and headache on where to find your document, the lease agreement, the rules, the move-in and move-out, inventory form, and all that stuff that you should keep should anything happen between you and that tenant, or anything happen on that property. Now, I do recommend, like I said, 3 to 6 month emergency fund, and don't let that be you. Please, before you actually buy that property or immediately you close on that property, please start saving that 3 to 6 month emergency funds, because I don't want you to lose your property to foreclosure. I also don't want you to lose your property because there is a problem and you just couldn't fix it because you don't have the money. So these are my 10 major mistakes I've seen new landlords make all the time. The ultimate goal of this video is to help you avoid them. So I hope I've been able to deliver that value to you. If you find the value here, please make sure to subscribe to this channel, share this video with anybody you think will benefit from this, because you're going to be helping them to become a landlord, and they're also going to be seeing you as a smart person, because hey, you're watching this kind of video, right? So if you implement all these 10 steps, or maybe you are doing them but you're not doing it very well, if you can go and tighten those knows both. This will help you to become a better landlord, and you will have a smooth real estate investing experience. You will be able to talk boldly and confidently with tenants, and you'll be able to make money through real estate and build that passive and generational wealth that you're actually looking to build on the long run. So if this is the first time we are meeting, my name is Wale Lawal again. I'm a real estate broker and a real estate investor here in the Houston, Texas. I have helped over 400 landlords just like you. So if you need my help, I would like to connect with you. You can follow me on Instagram, and you can also comment the word rental property here in the description below. I will send you the free guide I have for you that will walk you through step by step how to become a real estate investor, what are the things you should do, how to avoid any costly mistakes, among other things I can help you with. If you need a referral for a rockstar real estate lender or property manager or real estate agent, comment the word agents. I will send them to you and we'll be able to go from there. I hope you find value here again. Once again, my name is Wale Lawal. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.